What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Alex, joined today by my co-host, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I'm pumped. Glad we got to enjoy the draft. Hope you guys enjoyed the draft too. Before we get into that, we had some pretty big news this week as Robert Gronkowski, the former New England Patriot, came out of retirement and said he wanted to join Tom Brady in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. And the only way he was going to get down there was if the Bucs and the Patriots agreed on a trade, which they did. It only took them a few hours. Alex said that it was actually happening behind the scenes a few days before, but for us, it felt like minutes. But it came together pretty quickly, and Gronk is going to Tampa with a 7th-round pick for a 24th of Tampa's. I kind of like the move. I don't really agree with all the people saying that Tampa's going to run the league now, but how do you feel about it, Alex?
Yeah, so I have the exact same opinion basically as Ryan. Honestly, I like the move for both sides. I think Gronk is probably worth a 4th-rounder. He's 30. He's had injury problems. And then for the Bucs, I mean, it makes sense because it's Brady's guy, but at the same time, you have O.J. Howard, who is basically a younger, more athletic version of Gronkowski, which now it looks like they're going to try and trade O.J. Howard. Who knows what's going to happen with that. But I don't know. It's exciting. They're building a dream team.
Yeah.
Team's down with the Bucs, but they still have no defense really, and they kind of fixed the offensive line tonight, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. What do you have anything else to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, well, not to mention they have Connor Brate too. I mean, he was a big deal like 2 or 3 years ago, but I mean, he's kind of fizzled out now. But yeah, there were reports before they traded for Gronk that O.J. Howard might be on the move. Do you think that this like lowers his cost? I mean, they got Gronk for a 4th-round pick, so
yeah, it's weird. Like, what are you going to trade O.J. for now? Because he's not going to go for more than a 4th.
Yeah, it's got to be like a 5th or something.
A 5th or 6th, and if he didn't play for Tampa, I would say Carolina should call him because I couldn't even tell you. I think Carolina's tight end is Ian Thomas right now, but they're not going to trade within the division. I'm actually surprised he didn't get traded tonight, to be honest.
Yeah. Who knows? That might be a tomorrow type deal.
Maybe. Or maybe they'll run 3 tight ends. You never know.
That'd be interesting. Last question about this whole Bucs situation before we jump to the draft. You might know where I'm going with this. Do you think Edelman is coming right behind him, demanding a trade?
Here's the thing. I don't think Belichick's going to trade Edelman.
Yeah.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will because I think Edelman's still kind of salty that Tom left. I think deep down Edelman really thought that Tom was going to stay.
Oh, for sure.
There were reports earlier this week that like Edelman doesn't even like follow Tom Brady on Instagram anymore.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was like some petty stuff, but like
he unfollowed him. I saw it on Instagram, but yeah, man. I think Edelman really, like you said, I think he thought he was coming back to
New England.
New England. There we go. I almost said Pittsburgh, and I'm like, that's not where they play. New England. Yeah, it felt like Edelman really thought he was coming back, and now Edelman's stuck with Jared Stidham, at least for right now.
Or Jake Fromm.
We'll see. That's my guy. You know that's my guy.
Yeah. Well, do you want to jump into the draft now?
Yeah, guys. So the draft literally wrapped, 10 minutes ago maybe?
Yeah, I think so. What is it? Yeah.
We're jumping right in with our initial reactions to round 1. We're going to go through all 32 picks. There were some shockers, some real shockers. There's a couple.
10 was kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, the first 15 pick. No, the first 10 picks were just kind of like, why are there no trades happening? What's going on? I really expected Detroit to trade out of 3, but they didn't. So I guess we can jump right into it. Number 1 pick, Joe Burrow. We knew it was going to happen. I mean, I've been saying it all off season. He's not my guy. I like Tua more than I like Joe Burrow, and I feel bad for him, honestly, because I think there are other places he could have went that would have been better for him. The Dolphins or the Chargers, and now he's going to the Bengals. They have no offensive line. And he reminds me, what's crazy? He kind of reminds me of Mitchell Trubisky. He had one really good year, got drafted number 1. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, there are definitely some similarities there. I mean, I definitely have more stock in him than you do because you really don't like this guy. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with him. Like, I think he can either be like I guess he's boom or bust for me. I'm just excited to see which way he turns out. I'm glad that the Bengals got their guy. That was a great pick. If that's who they really wanted, I am very curious to see what kind of offers they got for that first pick. But I mean, if Joe Burrow's the guy, Burrow's the guy.
I heard that the Dolphins offered all 3 of their first-round picks, and the Bengals still said no.
If I'm the Dolphins, I'm 100% happy with what like they ended up with.
Yeah, we'll recap at the end, like what teams we think killed the first round. I could spoiler alert, the Dolphins are in that for me.
Yeah, dude, the Dolphins are terrifying now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can move on to number 2. It's another obvious one. Chase Young goes second overall to the Washington Redskins. I mean, they didn't even need a lineman, and he's just going to an already stacked defensive line. I feel bad for that division, but I also feel bad for him because it's Washington and they have no offense. So
they're working on it. I think with Ron Rivera, he's definitely doing defense first. You could tell. I mean, drafting Chase Young second, and then he brought back Kendall Fuller, and I mean, he got Todd Davis as well. So I mean, he's trying to get in the defensive ads. If you build defense first, defense wins games. So if they have a decent offense and a fantastic defense, I think they'll still come out with like 7 wins at the minimum.
Yeah, that division's going to be that division's going to be a bloodbath, and it's going to be like first team to 9-7 is going to make the playoffs. Like, well, yeah. I don't know. The Eagles might have something to say about that, but on to number 3. I really thought the Lions were going to trade out of this pick. Apparently, they tried, but no one called them. That was the report from Adam Schefter, is that they wanted to move back, but no one called. So they take corner Jeff Okudah from Ohio State. I'll let Ryan go first on this one.
I really like it. I mean, we've been saying this for months now that, like, Okudah's the guy if they do stay at 3, and he was. I mean, you know, if I was Detroit, I would have liked to field a few offers to see if they could move back. But I guess, like you said, they didn't really get any. So, I mean, if you have to settle on a guy, Jeff Okudah's a pretty nice guy to settle on.
Yeah, I mean, they replaced Darius Slay with a guy that has potential to be just as good as Darius Slay. And I think one of the main things about Okudah is he doesn't cause penalties. He's one of the best at, like, getting in people's grill but not getting holding calls or pass interferences. So he's very physical but not at the same time.
Yeah. Do you think that'll transfer over to the NFL? Because, I mean, obviously it's different league. Those wide receivers are kind of expecting it, and, like, it's kind of an art to, like, get away with stuff like that, like to make it, I guess, sell the penalty to the ref. You know what I'm saying?
So I do get what you're saying. I think he'll struggle at first. Like this, I think this first year will be rough for Okudah, but I don't think he'll have to be the guy because they have Desmond Trufant. So I'm wondering if he'll be the second corner. So then he'll be going up against lesser talent, and then he can learn behind Desmond Trufant before he has to take over as the number 1 guy there.
Detroit's low-key had a really sneaky good offseason.
I feel like we say this every offseason, and then they go 5-10. And
that's fair.
I feel like we said that last offseason, and then they went whatever.
But this one's better than last year.
True. I mean, it all depends really if Matthew Stafford's back is healthy, because you don't have a quarterback if he's not. So, this was the actual first surprise for me. Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle from Georgia, goes to the Giants. Now, I figured it would be an offensive tackle, but I had Andrew Thomas like my 4th offensive tackle off the board, if not my 5th. So, what is Dave Gettleman thinking here?
I mean, for me, this was like top 3, one of the worst picks in this first round. Like, it was just like their head was in the right place because you're right, they did need offensive tackle.
Yeah.
It's just like, why would you draft like the 5th rated offensive tackle when all of the other ones are still there? Like, if someone had traded up and got Tristan Dwarfs, okay, cool. Maybe you have a better rating on Andrew Thomas. But they literally had the first, like, creme de la creme. They could have had Jedrick Wells, Tristan Dwarfs, Micah Berenson, and they go, yeah, you know what? Let's go Andrew.
Here's the thing. Thomas went 4. The next offensive tackle went at 10. So they
Yeah.
really could have had anyone, and they
They
took.
could have traded back and still gotten Andrew Thomas.
I guess this just shows people's draft boards are way different because I didn't see one mock draft that had Andrew Thomas going even close to the top 10. I saw him in the teens, but not the top 10.
Yeah, I saw him I think the highest I saw him was 17 to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was trying to gauge Giants fans on Twitter, how they were feeling, and it feels like they're like, okay, we got a tackle, but it's not the guy we wanted it to be. So it was kind of hit or miss with them.
For them, they're probably just used to really weird drafts at this point.
For sure.
This is more the same for them.
I mean, Edelman might be the worst GM in all of football, but who knows? And then at 5, tank for Tua. They've been calling for it for a year now. Ryan Fitzpatrick tried to mess it up, but they end up getting their guy at 5 and Tua Tagovailoa. They take the risk, which I heard them saying during the draft show that they didn't take the risk on Drew Brees about 20 years ago or however long ago that was. And now they are taking the risk on Tua Tagovailoa. He's my number 1 quarterback. I think this is a giant smart decision. But Ryan actually had a good point that he doesn't think Tua is going to be the starter this year.
I actually kind of said that to you as a joke, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it makes sense. But also, I mean, I kind of like what the Dolphins did right here because, if Tua works out, you have a great quarterback. And if he doesn't, take Trevor Lawrence next year. They're in a really good situation. But the more and more we talk about it, I'm starting to like Tua more and more. I'm just worried about his health. And I don't know, while they have worked on their offensive line, I don't know if they're quite there yet to put him in that situation. That's a very tough division with a lot of tough defenses. And I don't know. I don't want him getting hit around. I mean, they also have to play the Chargers, the Broncos.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intense defenses.
Here's what I think will realistically happen. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick will start the season, and then if their bye week is week 5 or 6, I could see them moving Tua in by the bye week.
It's the first game that Ryan Fitzpatrick throws 3+ interceptions. That's when it's okay, you're done. So
True.
It might be week 1.
No, it won't be week 1. I was saying all offseason I thought Tua started week 1. I don't know anymore. I think you might be right.
I'm so curious to see how this offseason goes because they still have Josh Rosen.
That's so weird to me. He's the Patriots should have called up the Dolphins and been like, hey, what do you want for Rosen? Because no one really knows if he's good or not.
No one knows.
He's played maybe 5 games?
I think he's played total 9. I think he's played a little bit more than 5, but yeah, he's super small sample size compared to the other QBs he was drafted with. And everyone else is finishing their 30th game, and he's hey, I'm trying to get to 10.
I think he's 24 maybe. How old is this person? He's 23, dude. He doesn't turn 24 until the middle of February. How are we giving up on that guy? I think
the real thing is that I think he's a really good quarterback. I think that someone just needs to
he needs Bill Belichick. He needs the Patriots. I don't understand. If he gets cut, I think Bill is just going to be salivating over the idea of snagging him.
I think Bill sends a 4th rounder to them tomorrow.
No, I really think they're banking on him getting cut.
That would be insane.
Just think about it. He's on a rookie deal. They could cut him for nothing, where if you cut Fitzpatrick, you're probably $2 million on your cap. So why not cut Rosen? They didn't trade really anything for him.
I need the Pats to actually trade for Ryan Fitzpatrick. I really want Ryan Fitzpatrick to be the first guy that plays in all 4 teams in the AFC East.
I mean, he's old, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, if he plays for the Patriots, he's played for all 4. That would be just so cool.
That would be crazy.
I'm rooting for it.
I guess let's move on to the 6th overall pick. Justin Herbert gets taken by the Chargers. So I'm guessing Tyrod's out of a job?
Yeah, big time. Not even close.
You're a lot higher on Herbert than I think I am.
I think it's the same situation with Fitzpatrick. I think Tyrod might play till their bye, and then
I don't know.
Herbert might come in.
I think they need to sell tickets so bad that if Herbert has any sort of interest from the fans, they might throw him right in there.
Coming from a Bills fan, Tyrod does not have a lot of interest. So Herbert's definitely that guy if you want fans in the seats.
Now, I will say for Herbert, I think this was the best possible – the Chargers was the best possible landing spot for any of these quarterbacks, in my opinion. But for Herbert especially, because he is so raw and he needs a lot of development, that they're so good that they could probably make up for his mistakes sometimes.
His weapons are ridiculous. What rookie is able to come out and say, "Hey, I have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Hunter Henry. If they don't win 6 games, he's a bust." And Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So, yeah, I like the pick for the Chargers. So at 7, I had a range of emotions with this pick. So it's Carolina. They take Derek Brown, defensive tackle from Auburn. And honestly, at first I hated it. I was like, what are we doing? Isaiah Simmons is sitting there for the taking. Why are we not immediately turning in the card with him? And then the more I thought about it over the night, Ryan kind of convinced me that Derek Brown and KK Short in the interior with Brian Burns rushing the edge is kind of a nasty combination. And honestly, with Shaq Thompson and Whitehead as your linebackers, I don't know if Isaiah Simmons was the right pick for Carolina. I think Derek Brown seems to be the right pick. Twitter actually liked it, which was shocking to me. I thought Panthers Twitter was going to go insane that it wasn't Simmons. It's Brown. I like it. And now there are a lot of interesting options for Carolina during the second round, like a lot of interesting options at 7. So that's exciting. I think it helped the defense a ton. I would love to know what Ryan's opinion is.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I kind of sold it like that. And, I mean, I really do like the pick. I just like it a little bit less because Simmons was on the board. If Simmons had gotten taken by the Chargers, I would love this pick 10 times more. But because he was still on the board, it kind of takes away from it. But I just think that your defensive line is going to be nasty. And, I mean, with Tom Brady and Drew Brees in that division, you're going to need it. So I like the pick overall.
So apparently the Panthers had Derek Brown as their number 1 guy. He was the number 1 guy on their board, and he just happened to fall to them. At least that's what the reports were right after he got drafted, which that makes me excited. If he's our guy, we got him. Let's move on. At 8, the guy I wanted, Isaiah Simmons, goes to the Cardinals. Now, I saw you had a little back and forth with somebody on Twitter about this pick, how they thought it was a terrible pick, and I agree with you. I think this is a good pick. I'll let you.
I mean, for them, it was kind of like best player available. And, I mean, when you have a stud like that on a defense that is kind of honestly like meh, and the division like
2 players on their maybe 3 on their defense.
Yeah, I mean, you got Chandler Jones,
Patrick
Peterson,
and Buda Baker, and then after that, I got nobody.
I know Jordan Phillips because he just left Buffalo to go to them, but that's it.
Well, I think they have Byron Murphy. They just have an incredibly young defense, and I think Isaiah Simmons is going to fill a ton of holes for them.
I mean, his position is defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I just really liked it. I mean, the guy I was talking to was like, they still should have taken CeeDee Lamb. And I was like, really? Because they have probably one of the best receiving cores. They don't really need it. And, I mean, if, like, you're worried about pissing off your rookie quarterback, like, that's the least you're concerned.
If anything, they should have went offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Instead of defense. Like, CeeDee Lamb would have been stupid. You have Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, and D-Hop. You don't need another wide receiver. And Andy Isabella. So you definitely don't need another wide receiver. If anything, it would have been probably Wells or Tristan Dwarfs for me. But Isaiah Simmons helps that defense tremendously. So I love the pick. At 9, man. The Jaguars, I think, had a terrible draft in my opinion. But they take C.J. Henderson, corner from Florida, at number 9. I don't understand what they're doing. It's like they want to tank for Trevor Lawrence, but at the same time, they're building a defense. So they're not going to be as bad as we think they're going to be.
I don't know, man. C.J. Henderson was a little bit of a reach for me, as I assume you feel the same.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it was a head scratcher. You could tell they were definitely desperate to fill that hole that Jalen Ramsey left about half a year ago. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, even with that new regime that they brought in, they're still like their decisions are so awkward. I don't understand.
With it. They basically openly said they're tanking for Trevor by putting Leonard Fournette on the block, But you have the 9th overall pick. You're telling me Arizona, the Falcons wouldn't have wanted to moved up from 16 to 9. You could have got a second-round pick next year that would have helped you trade up for Trevor if you couldn't get him. Like, I don't know. The Jaguars seemed like a perfect candidate to trade back for me, and I don't think they did it once.
Yeah, Jaguars are consistent back of the top 10 in the first round. They're just trying to maintain their spot in the first round, man.
Somewhere between 7 and 11, I feel like they're picking almost every year. So next, this one's pretty obvious. This is going to be quick for me. At number 10, Jedrick Wells, offensive tackle, goes to the Browns. You just got to protect Baker. He's your asset. He was running for his life last year.
This guy was actually – wait, did you actually – yeah, you announced it. I was like, this guy is actually one of my favorites. I think this had to be my favorite offensive tackle in this draft just because he really impressed me in the combine with his footwork.
He's the Alabama guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's going to do really well with them. The Browns just signed Jack Conklin this offseason. And, they've still got work to do on the offensive line, but I think that, their tackles are set for now. They just got to work on the interior. And I think that they're already setting Baker up for a much better year.
Yeah, I mean, that division is full of incredible pass rushers. So getting an offensive tackle, especially an anchor like he is, it's going to really help that team out. Speaking of an absolute giant, at 11, Mekhi Becton goes to the Jets. Now, he's the biggest could be either boom or bust to me because he played at Louisville. He wasn't going up against incredible talent on the defensive end, but he's huge. I mean, he's 6'7" and like almost 400 pounds. So You got to protect Sam Darnold. It's basically the same as the Browns. You got to protect your asset.
I don't know. I like Mekhi Becton, but I do think that out of this group of like offensive tackles, he definitely is the riskier of the, 3 or 4 guys?
Yeah, the top 4, I think he's probably the most risky to me. Maybe Andrew Thomas, but I don't know. I probably would have put Becton there.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the pick overall. I think their head was in the right place at least. I'm very curious to see, if he is able to protect Sam Darnold the way they want him to. They've had an absolute overhaul in the offensive line. I think that they've signed George Fant, Greg Van Roten, and a bunch of other guys. To me, they didn't sign like that big name that they need. Like they've got a bunch of like solid middle tier guys, but I don't think it's going to do what they would think it's going to do. I think Sam Darnold's still going to get sacked a crap ton, but maybe just a little bit less than last year.
And here's the thing. They could have went wide receiver here, but I don't think it's a necessity. I mean, it's such a deep wide receiver draft. Why not get your offensive tackle that's going to be there for the next 10 years instead of a wide receiver? It makes sense.
I think they got to think about that in the second round, though, the wide receiver position.
For sure. Yeah. Definitely. This one is the biggest head scratcher so far to me, even more than the Giants. Henry Ruggs is the first wide receiver taken, and he's taken by the Raiders.
I'll let you go first. I went first last time.
I mean, I think Henry Ruggs is John Ross 2.0, so I don't see it. I think I think Jerry Jeudy is twice as good as Ruggs, and I know I'm hating on Ruggs. Like, I still think Ruggs is good, but I think for the Raiders, I don't think you take that risk. I think you take Jerry Jeudy, the guy that's going to be there, and you rock with him. But they went Ruggs. What do you think?
I think that, honestly, I could tell you exactly what John Gruden and Mike Mayock were thinking. They were like, hey, we have to play Tyreek Hill twice a year. You know what Tyreek Hill is? Fast. You know what Henry Ruggs is? Fast. That's our guy.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what happened. I don't hate the pick. I just it's like you said, it's kind of a head scratcher with Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb both on the board. But I don't know if that's who they like. That's who they like. And, honestly, it's another weapon for Derek Carr, so I can't complain. But kind of question mark for me.
I mean, I feel like last year all we did was question the Raiders draft picks, and 4 of them turned out to be great. Mason Crosby, who went in the 4th round, I think, turned into a stud. I mean,
Josh Jacobs in the end of the first round, monster.
I guess you just got to trust them, man. And then here at 13, man, the Buccaneers, they trade up with the 49ers, right? They moved up 1 pick.
Yep.
Yeah. They move up 1 pick and basically take the best offensive lineman that was in the entire draft at 13, and Tristan Dwarfs from Iowa. Just protecting your asset. Again, protecting Tom Brady. You're trying to build a dynasty down there in 1 year with the Bucs. So you got to protect your guy. Tristan Wirfs, I think, is the best offensive tackle in the whole draft. So I really love this move by the Bucs. Now, it is interesting to me why they moved up 1 pick. Like, do we think that somebody was trying to trade up to 13 to get him?
That has to be it because this isn't going to work out. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I think that has to be it because there's no way that the 49ers were thinking offensive tackle right there. They've got Mike McGlinchey, who was their first-round pick, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And they have that other guy at left tackle whose name is, escaping me right now.
Joe Staley?
Yes, that guy. So they were kind of set at tackle. So I don't really see why, unless that was just Bruce Arians being dumb. But either way, they got the best tackle in the draft, in my opinion, which is honestly astonishing at pick 13. But
Tom Brady being Tom Brady. The man's the luckiest person in the world, I swear.
That's what I said to Angela. I was like, this is the biggest Tom Brady luck move right here. Like, this is ridiculous.
You got lucky. Tom Brady left your division. He came to my division and started a dynasty team, like the All-Stars, basically.
In 2 days.
Yeah, literally. I mean, he's calling people out from retirement to come play for him, and they're still going to come in second in the division, but,
It is what it is.
Yeah. It'll be so much fun to see Brady and Breeze play twice a year.
I'm excited.
Can't wait. So then at 14, this pick bothers the hell out of me, Ryan. I'm not going to lie to you. At 14, the 49ers take Javon Kinlaw. I'm going to let you go first on this one because I want to know your opinion before I say mine.
Yeah, when I saw it, I looked at it. I was like, but they just traded DeForest Buckner, their best defensive tackle, for that pick that they picked Javon Kinlaw.
You traded away a guy to draft another guy. They're the same position, same player.
Here's what I think. I think it was a money move because they were getting ready to have to pay DeForest a ton of money, and now they have to pay Kinlaw, $2 million? Huh?
They don't need they don't need defensive tackle.
You're right. They weren't desperate for it, but they just lost a big guy, so they filled the hole that he left. But so in that sense, I didn't hate the move, but I do think it was strictly financial. It's why that happened the way it did. Me too.
But okay, you don't have a second, third, or fourth rounder. Either trade out of that spot and get more assets, which we'll talk about later in the draft. They made another wild move, but Jerry Jeudy is sitting in your lap. That was a stud wide receiver last year. Why aren't you giving Jimmy G all the weapons possible?
Yeah, that was kind of a question mark for me. I didn't. Yeah. Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb.
What makes it even worse is the move that they made later on in the draft that we'll get to in a few minutes. It's just I don't understand. I love the 49ers GM and head coach situation, but this is just a head scratcher to me. Maybe they know something we don't. And Kinlaw is the next Aaron Donald, but who knows, man. So then at 15, the Broncos probably got the best wide receiver in the draft, and Jerry.
Biggest deal of the draft, right here.
Could you have given what's their quarterback name? The rookie.
Drew Locke
a better situation than Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, and now Jerry Jeudy?
And a kind of improved offensive line.
And Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. Come on, man. That Broncos team is looking like that 7th seed playoff team in the AFC.
That's a minimum. Well, no, it's not because
look at their division.
Yeah, I thought about that as soon as I said that. I was like, well, no, yeah, that's where they're going to be, 6 or 7.
If they make it. It all depends on how good Drew Locke really is. We only saw him in a few games.
Dude, he doesn't have to. I could go out there and go 7-10 or 7-9 with that team.
I don't know. Their offensive line is pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's trying to be on the ups. John Elway forgets that's how it
is bad.
He's
how
the worst.
John Elway still have a job?
You got me, man. I think he should have been fired after Paxton Lynch, but that's just me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's still
Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco. Like, his track record.
and now he got
horrible.
lucky with Drew Locke. It wasn't like he picked him to be the guy. They just got lucky with him. But I guess we can move on to the Falcons. I wonder if this was the guy they were trying to trade up for or if he got drafted. I think the guy they wanted was C.J. Henderson, but they ended up getting A.J. Terrell from Clemson. So keep him in the same state, but I think they wanted C.J. Henderson.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't hate the pick. I mean, I like that they stayed where they were at because, I mean, if they had traded up for him, that still would have been a reach. So I don't feel like A.J. Terrell at 16 is as much of a reach as C.J. Henderson at 9 was.
Like, I would rather seen Henderson go at 16. Like, 16 feels right for Henderson.
Yeah.
Where Terrell isn't that big of a reach for me there.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it really filled their biggest need because, I mean, we've been kind of roasting the Falcons all offseason long. We're like, we don't even know a single player in their secondary. And then they filled the need right with their first pick. So, I mean, I like the move a lot. I think you're right. It's probably not the guy that they wanted, but they got their second best guy.
Do you think the AFC South, not the AFC South, the NFC South is the best division in football right now?
No.
Who is?
NFC West, easily. No question. Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, Rams. No way.
I think it's close. I think it would be a hell of a debate, Ryan.
No way.
You gotta think about. All right, let's hang on.
I think NFC South is honestly like a good second, maybe third.
Wait, hang on. If the West is first, who is second? If the South is third,
potentially the AFC West with the Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. That actually, never mind. I would take NFC West, NFC South. I guess AFC West.
I guess Atlanta and Carolina really bring back down the South, but the top of the South is just disgusting. But I guess Ryan hates this pick. I love this pick. At 17, CeeDee Lamb goes to the Cowboys. Now I'm going to let Ryan go first.
You know, I've grown on this pick since we last talked about it, but like I don't know. I feel like Jerry Jones could have addressed so many different positions here. You know, the defense wasn't the best, and I don't know. I guess overall it's a good pick because now they have an absolute stacked wide receiver room. They have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup. They just need a decent tight end, and they're out of here.
They have a crazy offense. Like, this team should be really good. And now I guess we're going to find out how bad Jason Garrett actually was and how good what's their new head coach name?
Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, how good he is. Because, I mean, this team is stacked, at least on the offensive side.
I would have liked a corner here, but that's just me.
Which one?
I don't know, like Jeff Gladney, maybe?
True. I mean, I think there's corners that are still available that are going to go early tomorrow that could have gone right here to the Cowboys.
Get Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Diggs isn't drafted is insane to me. But I guess we can move on. 18, Austin Jackson, offensive tackle, goes to the Jaguars. Now, again, I don't understand what the Jaguars are doing here.
I thought this was this is Dolphins. Austin Jackson is the Dolphins.
Wait, why does this have the Jaguars name next to it? Are we sure?
Yes.
Okay, well, then NFL's Twitter is wrong because it has the Jaguars next to Austin Jackson's name. But okay. So at 18, Miami gets – yeah, you're right. What am I talking – why does this say Jaguars next to it? Whatever. Forget it. Austin Jackson goes to the Miami Dolphins, and I like that move. I do. I really do. I think they needed a tackle, and he's probably one of the best ones left. Again, you drafted an injury-prone quarterback at 5. You got to protect him.
Yeah. I mean, not much to say about this pick. I like that they got it, but I mean, I think that the run on offensive tackles kind of screwed them over a little bit because they didn't get one of those premier guys, but they still got a really good tackle. And like you said, you got to protect Tua. I felt like their hands were tied here. They kind of had to take an offensive tackle.
I think they're the team that should have called the 49ers and said, hey, we'll move up to 13. They have so many second and third-round picks. Like, why don't you just offer all of your second-round picks to move up to 13 and get Tristan Wirfs?
Yeah.
But, I mean, maybe they're high on Austin Jackson. So
Dude, they got Tua and Tristan Wirfs. That would have been a cheat code. That would have been ridiculous.
Rumors were they were trying to trade up to 3 and 5 and take a tackle at 3 and then take 2 at 5. So
that's true.
That would have been insane. I'm not even going to lie to you. This next pick, I don't know a lot about. But at 19, Damon Arnett went to the Raiders. Kind of shocking to me. He's a corner. I think there were way better corners on the board. Do you know anything about him?
No. I'll just make it clear. Me and Alex are not draft analysts. We are not super into this. So when this guy was picked, I was like, I don't even really know who this is.
Nope.
So I was kind of learning about him as we went along and watching his highlight reel.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't hate it because they needed a corner, but just like you said, I feel like there were better ones on the board than this guy.
It feels like a reach. I mean, even the guys on ESPN were like, hey, he was a second-round talent.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here at 19? But whatever. Okay, let me make sure that 20 was the Jaguars, right? Because the Jaguars' name is next to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, don't know how to say this guy's name. I've heard it like 15 times.
I think it's Clavon Chasen. I think that's what I'm rolling with.
Edge rusher, went to the Jaguars. This just feels like they're – first of all, why isn't Yannick Ngakoue traded yet? What is going on? Is it coming?
I hope.
Let's hope. I mean, he's ruined the relationship with the team, so it has to come at some point. But it feels like they're replacing Yannick Ngakoue with this guy. That's what it feels like. It feels like the Jaguars are trying to build that defense they had that made it to the AFC Championship, and now – but without the offense, I don't know. Maybe Gardner Minshew's a better Blake Bortles, and they can get there. Dude, how crazy is it that Blake Bortles beat the Steelers to play the Patriots in the AFC Championship?
Yeah. I still can't believe that's real. And they had to beat us first. We were close. We were this close to beating
them. I know. You guys were – it was a field goal festival is what that game was.
It was like 10-3. We literally scored 3 points in a playoff game.
It was one of the most boring playoff games I've ever watched.
Chargers fans, that is why you drafted Justin Herbert, because Tyrod was under center for all of that game except for the last, 6 seconds when Nate Peterman came in just to throw an interception to ruin the game.
Yeah, that ruined the game. So at 21 – the Eagles take Jalen Reagor, wide receiver. Now, what are your opinions on this pick?
I really liked it. I mean, our Eagles guy that has been excited for this draft has been super pumped for Reagor. So I'm glad he got his guy. I like the pick, honestly. I mean, when CeeDee and Jerry Jeudy were, available at 15, I was like, the Eagles need to trade up.
Yeah, Ryan texted me immediately and said, why are the Eagles not trading up to draft CeeDee Lamb right now?
It didn't make honestly I would because their GM is really aggressive, so I thought it was coming, but it just
it couldn't have cost that much to move up. Well, I guess it was the Cowboys, and the Falcons weren't going to move down.
I think they could have traded with Denver.
No,
maybe the Falcons.
They would have had to trade with the 49ers, I think.
Maybe
at 14.
I think there was a tweet that Adam Schefter had that was saying that the 49ers took a long time because they were also dealing with potentially trading down again. So that might have been the Eagles trying to whisper in their ear a little bit.
Because if they would have got to 14, they would have had their pick between Jeudy, Lamb, Reagor, Jefferson. They would have had the pick. He reminds me of young Deshaun Jackson. They're about the same size. They're both fast as hell. I like the pick for the Eagles. They desperately needed a wide receiver. So
better than our Eagle Whiteside.
Yeah, at 22, Justin Jefferson goes to the Vikings, basically replacing Stephon Diggs. I think he's a really good – he reminds me of Stephon Diggs, to be honest.
Yeah. Best receiver on the board, so can't be mad at it.
No. And it feels like a financial move. You get rid of Diggs, you don't have to pay him, and you bring in a rookie that's younger than him and cheaper.
Yeah, gets paid about $10 million less.
Exactly. So at 23, the Patriots actually trade out with the Chargers. The Chargers move up. The Patriots get the Chargers' second and third round picks, and the Chargers take Kenneth Murray, linebacker, I believe from Oklahoma.
Yep.
I like the pick. I can't name a Chargers linebacker right now off the top of my head.
Drew Tranquil.
Okay, don't know who that is. So that will tell you that Ryan's our Madden guy and knows who that guy is. But Kenneth Murray, I think, is a day one starter, and he'll come in and start right away.
Denzel Perryman. I got two.
Yes, I know him. I think from Madden. But I think Kenneth Murray will come in and start right away.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick for the Chargers. I was honestly surprised to hear them trade back in, but if they were going to do it, that was a great pickup. So
yeah. I mean, they gave up a lot to get there, but they're a team that doesn't have a lot of holes.
Yeah.
So if your guy's there, you might as well give up your second, third rounder to go get him.
For sure.
This one's a head scratcher to me. At 24, the Saints take Cesar Ruiz, center, but I think they're going to move him to guard. I think they could have went defense here. I don't see the need for offensive linemen.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking Patrick Queen with that pick. I would have liked if they went linebacker. I think I actually mocked that in one of our mock drafts.
Too.
So that's who I was kind of rooting for with that pick. But, I mean, I don't hate it because, Drew Brees is old. They got to protect him. And their offensive line is, all right.
I know. I'm trying to think who their center is because do they have a center?
Yeah, they drafted one in the second round. It's Eric McCoy.
Okay,
they drafted him last year.
I'm gonna guess they move him to right guard or left guard.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely switching to guard. He's not being center because Eric McCoy was good.
Okay. So then at 25, the 49ers, with a wild move, trade back into the first round. And basically, I don't think they have another pick until the sixth round.
Yeah.
I think they traded them all away to get to 25, and they take Brandon Aiyuk.
I thought it was Aiyuk.
All right, Brandon Aiyuk. I like the pick. I just don't understand it because I think you could have had Jerry Jeudy at 14. Maybe there's not that big of a difference.
Well, my thing is I think they could have gotten Aiyuk at 31. I think they could have chilled out. And
Aiyuk was a second round guy.
Yeah, he was maybe flirting with getting into those last four picks of the first round.
The only team that I think might have taken him is the Green Bay Packers, and that's why they did it. And that's why I think, speaking of the Green Bay Packers, at 26, they trade up with –
They blew the draft up. They said –
Who did they trade up with? Who was at 26?
Minnesota.
Yeah, they trade with Minnesota, and they take quarterback Jordan Love from Utah State. Now, I think they took him because I think they wanted Aiyuk, and he was gone. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers right now, I'm on the phone, and I'm calling somebody pissed the hell off. Because why are you getting my replacement when I'm still in my prime? We're competing for a championship. You could have put some weapons around me, but now I'm tutoring Jordan Love. Come on.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers is not in his prime. He's been in the league for 15 years. 35. Dude, prime is 28 to 32 for a quarterback. That's key prime. He's borderline. He's a year away from being old.
So you like this pick?
Yes.
Okay. Let me preface before you say something. I love Jordan Love. He was my second favorite quarterback behind Tua Tagovailoa. I like the fit for Jordan Love to the Packers. I just don't like – it looks like you don't trust Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy when you draft Jordan Love.
I think that this is – how many years does Aaron Rodgers have left on his contract? Do we know?
3. He just signed an extension. I'll look it up real quick while you talk.
Do you think I know that beef happened with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers last summer, so maybe Matt LaFleur is looking to move on. Maybe he's looking to – I think that –
chance, bro.
I don't know. I don't know. I like the move. I think that this is honestly the most ideal fit for Jordan Love. And I'm just really intrigued to see how this is going to play out. Because are they going to trade Rodgers? Are they going to trade Love later on in a year or two?
In 2018, Aaron Rodgers signed a 4-year contract extension, so he's under contract for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't think you trade Aaron Rodgers right now. I really think what they're going to do is have Jordan Love sit behind Aaron Rodgers for the next 2 years.
I think that might happen, actually.
Kind of like Aaron Rodgers did with Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm a Packers fan, this pick excites me. But as an Aaron Rodgers guy, I'm pissed.
Well, I actually saw that on the Pat McAfee show about a month ago.
Yeah.
Pat asked him about what he was going to do if they drafted a quarterback, and he said that it wouldn't matter because no one's going to beat him out anyways. Which is cocky as hell, but also actually facts.
He's Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, I don't think Jordan Love's anywhere near about to beat Aaron Rodgers out for his job. I like the fit for him. I just feel bad for Aaron Rodgers.
I think there are very few teams that Jordan Love could, like, instantly walk into and have the starting job.
The Chargers, that's the only one. And maybe the Dolphins. And maybe the Patriots. So, I mean, it's a beautiful spot for him. It was either – here's what's interesting. Why did they trade up? Like, what team was going to come get him? I don't know. We've got about 6 picks left, so hang in with us, people. This one is going to be real quick because me and Ryan don't know who this guy is. Jordan Brooks, linebacker from Texas Tech, looks like a tackling machine from what they're saying on ESPN. It goes to the Seahawks.
He was a freak.
A shocker to me, especially with Patrick Queen still on the board.
Yeah, that was the big hang-up for me. But, I mean, it looks like they got a good guy. I mean, they said in the broadcast that there were GMs and head coaches that, like, basically came out and said that, like, they wish that writers would stop including Jordan Brooks in mock drafts because he was kind of like a hidden gem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe he will be. And, I mean, Pete Carroll has a pretty good track record for developing defense. Sorry, that took a long time to get out. But
you're good.
I think Jordan Brooks could be a pretty good player in a year or two.
Yeah, man, he's a steal. Just an absolute gem. So at 28, Patrick Queen goes to the Ravens. I think this is one of the best picks of the whole draft. So
I agree.
I mean, I think he just makes that defense so much better.
And I mean, we're talking about a year ago when they lost a lot of linebackers. They lost which one did they go? It was one of the Smith brothers. Was it Za'Darius?
I think it was, yeah. Za'Darius Smith left to go to Green Bay.
So, I mean, they lost Terrell Suggs also. So, I mean, they're just kind of slowly rebuilding. Oh, and C.J. Mosley left, and Patrick Onwuasor left this year. So, I mean, they're just slowly trying to rebuild that linebacking core. So, I like the move a lot, and I think that the Ravens' defense is going to be one of the best in the league next year.
Yeah, I think the only thing that can hold them back is honestly Lamar Jackson if he digresses a little bit from his MVP season, which is crazy to say because he was the MVP.
They still need a solid wide receiver too, but
Antonio Brown's in the way.
True.
I mean, literally, Lamar came out and said, "I want Antonio Brown on the Ravens." It's just up to the Ravens, so we'll see. So at 29, the Titans take Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle. I personally don't know a lot about this guy. They said on the broadcast that he probably should have stayed at college another year, that he's a little bit raw. Guess you got to replace your offensive tackle in Jack Conklin that you lost. So you try and do it with Isaiah Wilson.
I feel like they definitely could have traded back and still have gotten this guy.
Okay.
I felt like it was a little bit of a reach. So I wasn't really happy with it. If anything, I thought maybe you go secondary, because, I mean, Logan Ryan, their top corner, is still a free agent. So I thought maybe like Gladney or Diggs or somebody like that. So I was kind of disappointed with their pick. I didn't really like it very much, especially for a guy that I think they could have waited to the second round of draft.
Yeah, it's interesting. So then at 30, Ryan, you know how to say this guy's last name?
I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, yes, the Dolphins guy. I have no idea.
Yeah, so the Dolphins,
it was Igawande.
Yeah. So the Dolphins take Noah Igbenigi. Sure.
Yeah.
That's his name. He's a corner, and I forget which school he went to, but he used to be a wide receiver. and now he's turned to a corner. So they're saying he's a little bit raw, but his hands are really good. And he's going to slide in. Maybe. That sounds right. But he's going to slide in as their slot guy. I mean, I don't hate the pick.
No, I mean, I love it. I mean, honestly, because they said that both of his parents are track stars.
Yeah.
So this guy's got blazing speed. And, I mean, they just signed Byron Jones to a huge contract. So I like that they're beefing up their secondary and that defense.
Howard.
Yeah.
I mean, those are two pretty damn good guys to learn behind. So
yeah,
I like the pick. So then at 31, the Vikings take Jeff Gladney, corner. I love this pick for the Vikings. I think this was a home run. He was one of the best corners left on the board, and they desperately needed one. Yeah, man, I just love that pick.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, the fact that they were able to trade back and still get that guy, absolutely phenomenal. I thought they were going to try to target Yorda Gross-Matos, who is still on the board for the second round tomorrow. But, you know, I like this pick better. I think that the Vikings – I know we're going to say this a little bit later, but I think the Vikings have one of the best drafts.
Me too. I was just going to say
the entire NFL this year.
I really think they did. I think the trade for trading Diggs away really helped them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up this final pick of the first round.
This was such a surprise.
Yo, it was a shocker. I thought they were going running back, but I did not think it was him. So at 32, Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, running back, goes to the Chiefs. Now, I thought for sure this was DeAndre Swift. The second I saw that Swift didn't go, I thought it was Swift.
Well, yeah, I was like, this is Swift, this is Taylor, maybe this is Trevon Diggs, maybe. Like, but then they said Clyde Edwards, and I was like, no way. Like, it's a good scheme fit, but, like, it seems like a bit of a reach to me.
Like, the Vegas odds for him to be the first running back taken, I'm sure were insane.
Yeah, whoever put a bet on him which was probably his family.
I mean, I like it a lot. And, I mean, they got their guy at 32. So, if they feel like that fits, that's their guy. There's still so many good running backs left, dude.
Their offense is so good that, like, no one can even really question them. Like, it's like, okay, your offense is still the best in the league, no matter who you took.
Plus, he's had no wear and tear. I think they said during the broadcast that he has, like, 300 total touches through his entire career at LSU.
That's crazy.
Jonathan Taylor had almost 400 this year.
Is LSU low-key RBU right now? Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, Clyde Edwards.
Alabama would probably argue it, but maybe.
No, I forgot about Alabama. Alabama is RBU. LSU is DBU, though.
Yeah, for sure. Did you notice, by the way, real quick, about the families, how everybody clearly had way more than 6 people in their house? And, like, sometimes when they would pan to, like, where they're sitting in their living room, there'd be, like, 7 cousins just standing in the corner. And there'd be some like, producer, like, pushing them back, like, get out of the frame so that they can't see that our house is full of people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, family's different, though. I mean, well, obviously they got extended family in there, which gets a little questionable. But, like, I know if you have at least, like, a big family, like a lot of brothers and sisters, they don't really care as much because, like, you get exposed with them anyway. But, yeah, no, they had there were – Angela actually said that. She brought up that point. She's like, there are at least, like, 12 people in that guy's room.
Every time they'd pan to someone, I'd be like, yo, there's way more people than in that house. So I guess before we wrap up, give me your biggest surprise, your team that you think killed the draft, and your team that did terrible on the first round. I can go first if you need me to.
No, biggest surprise is still Andrew Thomas that's his name, right? Andrew Thomas at 4 to the Giants was my biggest surprise. That really caught me off guard.
Me too. I thought for sure it was a tackle, but not him. So I'm going to agree with you. I think Andrew Thomas at 4 is my biggest surprise.
My runner-up was probably the Packers trading up for Jordan Love. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
My team who I thought had the best draft, that's probably a close tie between the Miami Dolphins and the Minnesota Vikings. I thought both of those teams did an absolutely wonderful job. And, you know, with all the trade talks leading up to the draft, like, will the Dolphins ship a huge draft capital package to one of these teams to move up, or won't they? I thought they did a fantastic job utilizing those 3 picks that they had to further the betterment of their team. I think they're actually a legitimate team now that I think
sure. And they have, I think, 4 picks tomorrow or 5 picks maybe.
Yeah, like it's absurd. Like they're going to be like, I honestly, hot take, I think Dolphins might be in the conversation for that 7th playoff spot.
Maybe not this year. I think next year.
They're so well coached. Like, I know their roster is like all right, but not amazing. But they're so well coached. This crappy team that we saw last year won like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Behind Flores, I love Flores as a coach.
It's crazy. They have 2 first-rounders next year and 3 second-rounders next year also. Like this might be one instance that tanking worked out perfectly for a team.
Yeah. Like, you could not write a better script for the Miami Dolphins. And, I mean, I sent out a tweet out, like, probably about 10, 20 minutes before we started this, that, like, my fear of division rivals has just completely shifted from the Patriots to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'm not quite worried about the Dolphins too much yet, but, like,
not yet. But they're coming. They are coming. That is for sure, especially if Tua works out.
For sure.
I think my biggest disappointment has to be the Titans because they said that this Isaiah Wilson guy isn't even like a second rounder, really. They say he's like a third rounder, and they took him with the 29th overall. I mean, it just seems like a wasted pick to me. I feel like there was better offensive tackles on the board, but maybe I'll be wrong. You got anything else before we wrap this thing up?
I don't think so. Pumped for tomorrow. We'll be back at you guys tomorrow with another episode recapping rounds 2 through 3. And see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe and enjoy the draft.
Have a good night, guys.